This is a tutorial on how to deploy FastAPI to the Fly system for low-cost hosting with some drawbacks. Let's first take a look at what we're going to deploy. This is an open source stack based on FastAPI. It comes with a design demo where you can use HTMX to switch the pictures without reloading the page. So it's similar to Django, but it has more interactive elements. This is pulling data from SQL database backend that is deployed to the Fly volume. There's a demonstration of pulling the data from fake webinar attendees using fake pictures. There's a rudimentary AI demo. So we'll check on my hometown here. And using the Llama 3.370B without any internet access on this, or without any web search on it, it shows that the job growth is quite good, with the salaries ranging from 120 to 200K. I think you need to be pretty experienced with this, so just from following this tutorial, you may not get to this salary, but who knows? Okay, and then we have SQL admin, which is an open source package. So by default, the system will have a password of admin123, which you need to change. It'll create fake users for the demonstration, fake products, fake webinar registrants. And in this case, I created a new field for fake students for our course. And you could write to the database. And we'll save it. We're using the Fly system for this set of tutorials because it has an interesting cost structure. Unlike the virtual machines on DigitalOcean, the Fly machines can go to sleep. And when the Fly machines go to sleep, the cost is greatly reduced. So in this scenario, we're using a root file system. When the file system is stopped, meaning that it's asleep, you're paying 7.5 cents a month for this 512 megabytes. The Fly volume, which we're using, is 15 cents a month. And this is the place where we're storing the SQLite database. The 1 gigabyte is the minimum amount you can buy. We're not covering S3, so there's no backup for this tutorial. You need to check these prices yourself with your own research. However, to kind of get you kick-started, I've done my own research, and this could be wrong again, right? So you have to look into this. And this is what the Fly volume has been stopped. So if there's, what this tutorial covers is 1 gigabyte volume, no S3, that will be 23 cents a month. This is when the system is asleep. The scenario is you get something running, you show it to your friends, it'll wake up, they just have to wait for it to wake up. You can show your boss, your colleagues what the prototype is, but then it goes back to sleep. So this could be good for your resume. You can also keep it awake, which would cost you about $5, maybe 50 cents a month. If it's awake for the entire month. And in the future, I want to try to move it to S3. So using the Fly machine database that goes away, but syncing it up with S3 storage at 2.3 cents a month to reduce the cost a bit. And it seems possible that in the future we can get it down to maybe 10 cents a month. If you want to try to get it down to 0 or even closer to 0, you might be able to use Terso instead of SQLite directly. You could also use Supabase because it's an SQL database, and for a single Supabase instance it is free. Or replace Fly with Vercel. I used to use Vercel and Supabase, and it's okay, but I had some issues, so I'm trying to use Fly now. Although there is some cost. It's not 0 with Fly. Alright, so at this repository here, FastApp, that's based on FastAPI. It's just a set of tools. I'm going to actually download the zipped file here. And I'll have the zip file right here. I'm going to switch the name. And then I'm going to open this up in a editor. I'm going to use the cursor editor. On the GitHub repository for the Fly project, I'm going to go into Docs. There is a file called Fly Deployment with my colleague Jesse Kasman wrote, and I just went through it. So you need to install Fly control. So I'm on a Mac for this tutorial, so I've already done this step. I've done brew install Fly control, and I've already signed up for a Fly account here. So because I've already signed up, I'm going to go Fly auth login. So do Fly auth login, and I've already have an account, so I'm using this email address here. So I'm going to continue. And it's now connected to the Fly command line application. As you can see here, it says successfully logged in, and this is what you want. So this document has a Docker file. I'm going to copy the Docker file. This is just for the deployment on Fly. And our system is using UV, not pip. It's going to run UVcorn, which we have installed with UV sync here on this line for this host, and you can see the rest here. But it does install UV with this line here. For local development, you also have to have UV installed. Okay, but let's... So this is I'm going to paste in the Docker file, which I just copied. And we'll save it. Okay, this has a Docker ignore here. I put into the clipboard. We'll call up the editor. I'll open up the side panel with Command B, and I'll create a new file for .docker ignore. Drop it in. I'll do the save. And we'll get back to the very nice tutorial here. initialize fly app. Not deployed yet. I'll copy the command. Then we'll go back to cursor or editor. And then I'll do control backtick on cursor, or you can use the thing here at the top to open up the terminal. I'll drop in the fly launch no deploy. It says continue launching a new app. Yes. So it created a new app. It has a rather long name here. Actually, let's tweak the settings. Okay, it opened up this window here. I'm going to deploy it to my organization. And fly. Let's call it FastAPI fly deploy tutorial. San Jose, because I'm in Silicon Valley. I'm going to adjust the virtual memory to 512. It'll work with 1 gigabyte. It's just a lower cost solution at 512 megabytes. No PostgreSQL, no Redis, no Tigris, no Sentry at this time. So we'll go, and the launch settings are confirmed. Oh, we're using the cursor. And it says here at the bottom that the configuration valid, your new app is ready, deploy with fly control deploy. But let's see what the tutorial. Okay. So I did some tweaks here. I already changed it to 512 megabytes. And we could check this in the fly.toml. So it's 512 meg. So if you don't know your region, I'm using Silicon Valley, but you can do the fly platforms regions here. Okay, let's add a few more things to the fly.toml. We'll add swap. And we'll add the fly volume. We're going to mount the volume, the fly volume. So that's persistent storage on /data right there. Okay, we're going to set the fly secret key. It can be any string. So this just sets up a longer string here of random characters. So you don't need to, if this doesn't run, which it does run in my test, but if it doesn't run, you can just put a longer string in here. And the syntax is fly secrets set. So this is the keyword part. And then there's an environmental variable here and we need the database URL. The syntax is kind of funky. There's 4 slashes, and the place where it's mounted is data. So 1, 2, 3, and then there's a 4th slash mounted from the root of data here, and we're actually using test.db, not app.db, so I'll make that change. So in our application, we're using test.db. Okay, and, but the code will look for test.db. I guess you could change it as well to app.db. Let's go with test. Okay, the secrets are staged. We need a OpenRouter key. You don't need this key if you're not going to run the AI demo, but I'll go through it. So I'm going to create an API key. I'll call it delete me tutorial fly, and I'll put a credit limit of $1, and I'll create the key. So I'm going to copy the key right there. Let's go back to our command line. So the syntax is fly secrets set, and it's open AI open router API key equals, and then we will drop it in here. I'll put a quote at the bottom. So it's open router API key, and you could set the credit limit to 0, but you have to modify the LLM to use a free LLM, which they are available. They're just limited. So this one uses a cheap LLM by default. If you want to experiment with it, okay. So we'll set the secrets right there. So I've slightly deviated. I've changed the app to test, and I've created fly secrets for open router underscore API underscore key. Then let's go for the fly deploy. And we'll see what happens. Maybe you'll have to fix something. So it's looking like it's going to complete. We'll see. It created the machine, it set up the volume, and it should be right there. So I'm going to do command click on the link. Okay. Appears to be deployed. We're not going to have access to, for example, there's no data. We're missing the data here, and you won't be able to log in. So let's fix that right now. Maybe a little easier to read if I use this one. So we're going to do fly SSH console. So I'm now on the fly machine application right there. So I'm going to do UV run Python opman, which is a special open source little tool that we're using for testing, and I'm going to do init. So this created a bunch of fake data for your testing, fake users, fake webinar attendees. We can also theoretically log in. So on the deployed site here, we'll first check the webinar data. Oh, and we have the fake data in our database that's pulling out. We'll look at the SQL admin panel. So it's admin at example.com, admin 123. We don't need to save it. And we have our users that are registered. We have our products, webinar registrations. There's nothing in the audit log, that's for future use. And we can test out our database. So let's go back. It's a different dashboard for like a custom dashboard, admin 123. And it should be stored in the database right here. So I'll try to do a fly restart on the machine. Okay, I think it's fly machine restart. Select machines, space to select. I'm on the fly dashboard, and this is the machine name here that I just restarted. Last updated a minute ago, and I restarted it from the command line here. It's the same number that ends in 468. So let's test to see if the data survived it. Oh, a little error here. So this is local here. UV. So the root cause is the static uploads photos are on the fly machine, not a fly volume. So we're going to have to add onto the mounts the photos section here, and not just the data for the database. We also have to create a new fly volume for the static folder. And I'll cover this in a future video. So right now, you can get the demo to work on fly, but the static folders directory is not there. So I'm going to add this document on the fly static folder deployment to the repo on GitHub in case you want to get a head start and take a shot at it yourself. Otherwise, if you subscribe to the channel, you get some type of notification that when the next video comes out about the static folder of fly deployment. Although you could probably just figure it out from the database itself is on the fly volume. So hope you have a good time. Hopefully you're being creative and creating your own AI applications and having a lot of fun showing your friends, your colleagues, maybe your kids, or maybe your parents if you're a young person. Well, have a great day.